It might have been a bit since the last major, but things are about to get real in competitive Melee. May and June are set to feature a pair of stacked events in Vancouver's Battle of BC 5 and Georgia's Tipped Off 14, and you know the summer of Smash is going to go hard with events like GOML, SmashCon, and much more on the horizon. So with that in mind, let's take a step back and ask ourselves, where do we stand right now? And of course, that means asking that ever important question, who is number one? There's a pretty simple set of criteria to be in this discussion. Did you win a major in the past 6 months? The qualifying events per Wikipedia include the following: the Big House 10, Ludwig Smash Invitational, Smash Summit 14, Apex 2022, Main Stage 2022, Scuff World Tour, Genesis 9, Collision 2023, and Major Upset. That leaves us with a 5-player list. In alphabetical order, it's aMSa, Cody Schwab, Jmook, Mango, and Zain. Let's go through each player's case and see where the top level of Melee stands as we approach the midpoint of 2023. Yeah, whatever. We all remember what happened at Genesis 9. We don't need to linger on it. So let's talk about the 3 months prior. In that stretch, Mango really did have an argument for number one. His worst result in that 3-month span was 7th at the Ludwig Smash Invitational with losses to aMSa and Slug, but even that included a clutch win over Zain in the Swiss stage. He went on massive losers runs at his other 3 events. At the Big House 10, he was only stopped by aMSa, taking down IBDW, Zain, and Axe, and his run to 3rd at Scuff World Tour included wins over Lod and Hungrybox. He dominated main stage, taking the bracket through winners and getting pushed to a final game only by his winners and grand finals opponent, Cody Schwab. But Mango's crown jewel of late is obviously his win at Smash Summit 14.
If it were up to me, all these fucks would lose every tournament. I would win every single one to the end of time.
Only made more impactful by the fact that we now know it as the last Melee Summit of all time. Mango is by far the best player in the room for the whole weekend, going 7-0 in sets and only dropping 5 games total across the entire weekend. So, is Mango the best player in the world right now? Kinda hard to be, considering he hasn't entered anything since Genesis. Can he be again? Some of these head-to-heads over the past 6 months speak for themselves. 2-0 on Zain, 2-0 on Leffen, 2-1 on Hungrybox, and a ridiculous 7-0 on Cody. The biggest obstacle right now? That damn dinosaur. Mango is 1-4 against aMSa in this stretch, but he got him on the biggest stage at Summit, so even against his toughest opponent right now, we know we can't count him out.
Oh, let's go, Alex!
Shut the fuck up!
We wouldn't dare have this discussion without including the reigning world number one. Zain has just one major championship under his belt in this span, but it was a big one. He took the Ludwig Smash Invitational in October, which might just be the single most stacked invitational event in Melee history, and yes, we are counting the summits. Despite a couple of losses in the Swiss phase, Zain would go on to take the main bracket from winners on Championship Sunday, taking down Cody, Leffen, and Hbox twice in the process, including the winner's semi-set where he had to claw it back from down 2-1. Zain may not have any other major titles to his name, unlike Mango, Jmook, and aMSa, but what he does have is unmatched consistency. He's 3 for 6 on top 2 finishes, making grand finals at Collision and Apex. Most impressively, he hasn't finished outside the top 6, which every other player on this list has at least once. The fact that number 1 contenders so often find themselves not just outside of top 6, but outside of top 8 is a sign of something we should all understand by now. Melee's top level is stronger and deeper than ever. In a world where somebody who we all know is great but hasn't broken out yet is liable to make a deep run at any given major, it is insanely impressive that Zain hasn't had that one early exit it seems like everybody has these days. But still, you can't be number 1 without winning majors, so Zain will have to snap his drought soon to hold on to his title come this summer. He's also been vulnerable to a number of his top competitors, with losing records against aMSa at 0-2, Mango at 0-2, Cody at 3-4, and Jmook at 1-3 in that span. But it's a bit unfair to judge him on 2023 alone, which has offered only a couple of big chances for Zain to prove himself, as he did not attend Major Upset in April. Battle of BC will be a huge opportunity for him to make a statement. After a truly agonizing number of near misses, including 2nd place finishes at Summit, Main Stage, and Genesis, Cody Schwab got himself on the board in a big way to kick off April back at Major Upset in Portland. He clutched up and won 3 straight Game 5 sets over Hungrybox and twice over Plup to take the championship. Now, he still has to win a major where all of the top contenders are in attendance, but Cody's head-to-head record suggests he's more than capable of doing so. Since October, he has a huge 5-1 lead over aMSa, a 4-3 lead over Zain, and is tied 3-3 against Jmook. His 2 biggest challengers, however, aren't necessarily likely opponents for him to run into in bracket anytime soon. First, there's Leffen, who took him to the cleaners twice in the Ditto, back at the Ludwig Smash Invitational and Scuff World Tour. But the big one is Mango, the one player for whom Cody had absolutely no answer at the end of 2022. Cody got him at GOML, and then Mango won the matchup 7 straight times. times. We talked about how Zain's consistency has been unmatched over the past half year or so. Cody was one tournament away from matching Zain's spotless top 8 attendance, the Ludwig Smash Invitational, where he got 9th to Zain and Mango. Accounting for the absurdity of that draw, Cody is right up there. With even one more major win under his belt, his #1 resume will be hard to match. No matter who's in attendance, Cody can do it. But if Tryhard Mango doesn't return soon, there might be no stopping him. aMSa, quite frankly, set an unfair standard for himself with his ridiculous end of 2022. Not only did he win 3 of his last 6 tournaments of the year, he didn't miss a single top 8. Times used to be that we would qualify aMSa's accomplishments as being great for a Yoshi, but those days are gone. The man is simply great. He has at least looked human to open 2023 though, finishing outside of top 8 at both Genesis and Collision before getting back on track with a 3rd place finish at Major Upset. It's the 9th and 13th place finish that stand out, apart from Mango's 97th at Genesis, as the worst results of any current #1 contender. But the high points for aMSa are just that high. On top of the 3 major wins, just look at his insane head-to-heads in this span. He has 2 losing matchups to players he has faced multiple times, a 0-3 against Moki and a 1-5 against Cody. Fox is tough. But then there's the rest of them. 2-1 over Jmook, 6-2 over Hbox, 4-1 over Mango, 2-0 over Leffen, 2-0 over Zain. He's also 2-0 on Slug and Sunsei for the record, guys who have given others on this list fits. Between his major championships and his head-to-heads, aMSa looks like he should be an easy pick for #1 at this point. But there are a few blemishes, as he's been vulnerable to others outside of this list. At Collision he fell to Laud and Zuppy, at Major Upset he lost to Plup and Hbox, and at Genesis, 2 St. got him in winners. Perhaps this is just life as a Yoshi, and we can't expect the same consistency from aMSa that we've come to expect from others. But hey, remember what we said earlier? We are done qualifying his greatness as for a Yoshi. He's shown he can take down anybody and might just be the best player in the room on any given weekend. Now, the question is if he can do it consistently as the summer approaches and tournaments become more and more frequent. To end 2022, Jmook had the kind of consistency most players would kill for. He hadn't missed a top 8 since December 2021 Smash World Tour Finals, but it did look like he had hit a bit of a wall at the end of the year. From the Big House through Scuff World Tour, Jmook finished 5th or 7th at 5 straight tournaments. He wasn't taking any particularly bad losses, he was just consistently getting to winners quarters or semis and then getting stopped by either a fellow #1 contender or the Sheik Killer himself, Hungrybox. Jmook is 1-10 against Hungrybox all time. The win came at Shine 2022 and has been followed by 5 more losses made all the more painful by the fact that the last 3 all went to Game 5. But suddenly, Jmook started dodging Hungrybox, and then something crazy happened.
He's going to have to completely, cleanly open Jmook up if he wants a chance.
Wait, that'll do it.
That might have been it.
That's it.
Weak
Yeah.
reverse hit there. Jmook is your Genesis 9 champion, making history today, lighting up the venue.
We already went into tremendous detail on the historical weight of Jmook's Genesis 9 win on the channel. Check that out if you haven't already. And then he went ahead and won again, taking Collision 2023 despite dropping winner semis to Cody. Jmook took down 2 of Canada's best in Zuppy and Moki before getting Cody in the run back and taking down Zain twice, including a Game 5 to finish it. Looking purely towards the 2023 rankings, Jmook obviously has a massive head start thanks to his Genesis and Collision performances. Now taking a longer view, the biggest question to if Jmook can bring the #1 ranking home might just be from the first man on the outside looking in at the current #1 conversation. That would be Hungrybox, who hasn't won a major since Riptide but remains insanely consistent, making literally every major top 8 he enters. We've seen what happens when the two end up on other ends of the bracket. But Hbox hasn't shown any signs of deteriorating when it comes to the Puff Sheik matchup, and Jmook can't count on that kind of bracket luck to continue all year. But if it does, or if Hbox can't get to Jmook before falling into losers, good luck to everybody else. The only other player with a winning record on Jmook since October in multiple sets is aMSa, who got him at Apex and Scuff World Tour, but Jmook took him out in winners at Ludwig's. It's definitely too early to say which way this one's leaning, especially given both of aMSa's wins were Game 5 sets. But given that aMSa and Jmook were the hottest players of the end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023 respectively, it's only fitting that their head-to-head might just be what decides this year's #1 race. Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Big thanks to Jackie Peanuts for writing, and I hope you enjoyed this PG Stats-like video. If you'd like to see even more of them, join my Patreon. There, you'll gain access to a bunch of bonus content, and you'll help fund future projects like these. Speaking of, thank you to our top-tier patrons and YouTube members Avishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Dorian, Eric is Cool, Juniper, NNG Esports, Storm SSB, Storm, and Tingly Jungle for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, you may be interested in our analysis on the current best Ultimate player, which you can check out here, and the answer may surprise you. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.